I'm moving fast. Where are you?
Charter. Please join me today, January 5th at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Angela Rochelle, InfoWind contributor, will be giving some information on what is gaslighting. And mind, you can kind of see the rest. We'll see you today.
One of the caveats that I do have some personal information that I did get personally involved in was some information that had to do with Stargates and Looking Glass, and more specifically the 2012 problem with those projects. The popular opinion of what's out there right now is that the project was shut down because there was a problem when we approached 2012. I've heard it described in a number of ways, but to my knowledge, the problem is that the timelines converge on that point in time. And when you know enough about the Stargate projects and the Looking Glass project to know how string theory works and how possibility of possibilities works, and how making one choice over here doesn't necessarily mean that the other choice couldn't exist at the same time. But once you get your brain wrapped around this subject, you find out that at the end of 2012, an easy way to put it, the choices that we make become less and less consequential to the future. And eventually we're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make. And that's important to the people that had access to Looking Glass because they would use Looking Glass knowing the choices that they would make and the future would pop up. The big mistake was coming up with the possibility of future. And when we started using a computer to say, well, if we make this choice, it's 79% possible that this scenario happens. 23% possible or whatever, round numbers, that this scenario would happen. The understanding at the time was that was realistic. However, if you go down the road further and free will continues to exercise itself on this game, that 79% possibility sometimes changes very, very fast. But if you look at the situation in a point of time, it seems very realistic that that's the greatest possibility. What happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the Looking Glass inherently ended up in
When it comes to abusive parents, what
that there's really nothing that we know is going to happen, and except whatever happens, that makes the convergence of timelines happen as naturally as possible. Any attempts to try to go away from this one inevitable conclusion.
comes to your mind? Do you think of physical, mental, and sexual abuse? Parents can be abusive in ways that are hard to detect. It doesn't matter how the parents express it, though. Abuse is abuse, no matter what. Long-term abuse will increase the chances of developing serious mental health problems that will be dragged into adulthood. Different forms of abuse will affect children in numerous ways. Curious to know more? Here are 14 subtle things an abusive parent can do to their children. 1. Little to no privacy. There's a huge difference between a parent protecting their child from harm versus giving them a lack of privacy. It's essential for parents to provide age-appropriate privacy to their children, such as allowing them to change alone in their room. 2. Invalidating emotions and reality. Parents can invalidate their children's feelings by telling them how to feel or completely denying their feelings altogether. This makes children feel unheard and internally conflicted. In the long run, children will have difficulties trusting their judgment and making decisions. 3. Giving the silent treatment. It's an immature way of handling things, and it's emotionally abusive. Parents use this tactic to exert their power or punish their children. Due to this, the children feel unheard, rejected, and develop low self-esteem. 4. Playing the victim card. This type of behavior is emotionally abusive because the parent doesn't take responsibility for their actions. This in turn can affect children in 2 ways. They can learn this type of behavior and use it as a coping mechanism when they're older, or develop feelings of guilt and shame and blame themselves for things that they shouldn't. 5. Gaslighting. This is a type of psychological abuse, and it's difficult to detect. It's a type of manipulation where the abuser creates doubt and confusion within the victim. A parent who gaslights their children will leave them feeling insecure, paranoid, anxious, and mistrusting. In extreme cases, the child will end up questioning their reality. 6. Threats of violence. It's emotionally abusive for parents to threaten their child with physical violence, even if they aren't going to use it. Children end up feeling unsafe around their parents and don't want to be home. 7. Favoring a child over another. Parents can act differently with their favorite child. For instance, giving them more attention, better gifts, less discipline, and more privileges. This will affect the other child by decreasing their self-esteem. They can develop depression, feel rejected, feel inadequate, and in the long run, fall into similar relationships outside of the home. 8. Being overly critical. This type of abuse occurs when a parent repeatedly criticizes their child. For example, harshly comparing their children with one another. Children end up developing low self-esteem, feeling inadequate, and worthless. 9. Taking control of your finances. Parents who take away their child's money are abusive and believe their children owe them. It's not the child's responsibility to pay back for anything. On the contrary, children should be encouraged to develop independence and learn how to correctly handle their money. 10. Emotionally absent. This type of abuse is again difficult to detect. In many cases, children don't notice they're being abused. When a parent is emotionally absent, the child will end up feeling unappreciated and unsupported. In severe cases, children can develop depression and become needy as an adult. 11. Using guilt.
Absolutely.
Parents who are constantly guilt-tripping their children are emotionally abusive, and it's a form of manipulation. This damages the child's confidence and self-expression. They end up feeling like a disappointment, and in many cases, children feel guilty for everything they do, even when it's correct. 12. Humiliation. Intentionally humiliating a child as punishment causes more harm than good. It emotionally drains children and affects their self-worth. It also teaches children that it's okay to bully one another. In the long run, children end up feeling shameful and become preoccupied with what others think of them. 13. Earning your parents' love. Parents should love their children unconditionally, but that isn't always the case. Parents who love conditionally withdraw love to manipulate the children into doing what they want. They only show affection when the children are behaving how they want them to. This deeply affects children emotionally. And lastly, 14, taking away your independence. Some parents want their children to depend on them. It's their way of maintaining power and control, and this hinders the child's development. A parent can go as far as not allowing their child to make a single decision and even prevent them from learning necessary skills they need to become successful adults. Many of us struggle with different forms of abuse growing up. A lot of the times it can be unintentional. No one's perfect, and sometimes parents can do harm to their children unwillingly. This obviously doesn't excuse their behavior. Parents need to become aware of how their behavior affects their children. Have you struggled with any of these types of abuse? Or are you the parent who unconsciously did these things to your child? Let us know in the comment section below. Remember, being aware of these behaviors is the key to healing and changing your life for the better. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like, share this with someone who could benefit from it, and subscribe to Psych2Go for more psychology videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. When it comes to abusive parents, what comes to your mind? Do you think of physical, mental, and sexual abuse? Parents can be abusive in ways that are hard to detect. It doesn't matter how the parents express it though. Abuse is abuse, no matter what. Long-term abuse will increase the chances of developing serious mental health problems that will be dragged into adulthood. Different forms of abuse will affect children in numerous ways. Curious to know more? Here are 14 subtle things an abusive parent can do to their children. 1. Little to no privacy. There's a huge difference between a parent protecting their child from harm versus giving them a lack of privacy. It's essential for parents to provide age-appropriate privacy to their children, such as allowing them to change alone in their room. 2. Invalidating emotions and reality. Parents can invalidate their children's feelings by telling them how to feel or completely denying their feelings altogether. This makes children feel unheard and internally conflicted. In the long run, children will have difficulties trusting their judgment and making decisions. 3. Giving the silent treatment. It's an immature way of handling things, and it's emotionally abusive. Parents use this tactic to exert their power or punish their children. Due to this, the children feel unheard, rejected, and develop low self-esteem. 4. Playing the victim card. This type of behavior is emotionally abusive because the parent doesn't take responsibility for their actions. This in turn can affect children in 2 ways. They can learn this type of behavior and use it as a coping mechanism when they're older, or develop feelings of guilt and shame and blame themselves for things that they shouldn't. 5. Gaslighting. This is a type of psychological abuse, and it's difficult to detect. It's a type of manipulation where the abuser creates doubt and confusion within the victim. A parent who gaslights their children will leave them feeling insecure, paranoid, anxious, and mistrusting. In extreme cases, the child will end up questioning their reality. 6. Threats of violence. It's emotionally abusive for parents to threaten their child with physical violence, even if they aren't going to use it. Children end up feeling unsafe around their parents and don't want to be home. 7. Favoring a child over another. Parents can act differently with their favorite child. For instance, giving them more attention, better gifts, less discipline, and more privileges. This will affect the other child by decreasing their self-esteem. They can develop depression, feel rejected, feel inadequate, and in the long run, fall into similar relationships outside of the home. 8. Being overly critical. This type of abuse occurs when a parent repeatedly criticizes their child. For example, harshly comparing their children with one another. Children end up developing low self-esteem, feeling inadequate, and worthless. 9. Taking control of your finances. Parents who take away their child's money are abusive and believe their children owe them. It's not the child's responsibility to pay back for anything. On the contrary, children should be encouraged to develop independence and learn how to correctly handle their money. 10. Emotionally absent. This type of abuse is again difficult to detect. In many cases, children don't notice they're being abused. When a parent is emotionally absent, the child will end up feeling unappreciated and unsupported. In severe cases, children can develop depression and become needy as an adult. 11. Using guilt. Parents who are constantly guilt-tripping their children are emotionally abusive, and it's a form of manipulation. This damages the child's confidence and self-expression. They end up feeling like a disappointment, and in many cases, children feel guilty for everything they do, even when it's correct. 12. Humiliation. Intentionally humiliating a child as punishment causes more harm than good. It emotionally drains children and affects their self-worth. It also teaches children that it's okay to bully one another. In the long run, children end up feeling shameful and become preoccupied with what others think of them. 13. Earning your parents' love. Parents should love their children unconditionally. That isn't always the case. Parents who love conditionally withdraw love to manipulate the children into doing what they want. They only show affection when the children are behaving how they want them to. This deeply affects children emotionally. And lastly, 14. Taking away your independence. Some parents want their children to depend on them. It's their way of maintaining power and control, and this hinders the child's development. A parent can go as far as not allowing their child to make a single decision and even prevent them from learning necessary skills they need to become successful adults. Many of us struggle with different forms of abuse growing up. A lot of the times, it can be unintentional. No one's perfect, and sometimes parents can do harm to their children unwillingly. This obviously doesn't excuse their behavior. Parents need to become aware of how their behavior affects their children. Have you struggled with any of these types of abuse? Or are you the parent who unconsciously did these things to your child? Let us know in the comment section below. Remember, being aware of these behaviors is the key to healing and changing your life for the better. If you found this video helpful, please give us
#health. Healthy intelligence. What?
I'll be right there. I gotta go down. I gotta go downstairs for a second. Miss Rochelle, how are you today? You're having a hard time with your audio? You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can because you unmuted.
No, I fucking, man, this audio, I'm about to throw this fucking thing. I'm about to throw it, punch it.
What? It's working fine.
You think? I don't. Check 1, 2.
It's yeah, finally working.
You think?
Yeah, that was into the mic, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, I was right on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that sounds good when you're right on it. Now try, now, I don't know, just to try and get it closer. What kind of a mic?
Hello.
Are you using that mic stand or a different one? Or
I have a different one that's just closer. It's on the floor.
Where's skinny?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
It sounds okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So, here are, I want to drop these to you.
Okay, put them in signal.
Okay. Let's see, let me open it. Signal.
You okay with Angela Rochelle?
Who's that? Me? That's my
That's your new news name, yeah. You're a new
Rochelle.
You're InfoWin news contributor, Angela Rochelle.
Rochelle, huh? Where you pull that one out of?
Just out of my ass today, out of my beautiful mind,
I was
actually.
gonna say, you pull that out your ass?
My mind.
Ugh.
It's good. I think it looks great.
Okay, so there's this thing. 11 things. Did that send? Oh, my computer's being stupid. Oh, I think I have to type to send it. Okay, so I think that's like 11 things that a narcissist do. And I just like a little bullet point thing. And our brains involuntarily do this. This one here.
Are these videos or just
No, these are just little like
memes or whatever?
papers, like little posters, like things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like to put the bullet points so you know they can see. So it's the 11 things a narcissist do. Tells you blatant lies. They deny things they say to you even though you have proof of them. You know, these are the things the courts do to people too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because what really triggered me on this was, let me find it because I'm gonna need it. Was okay. So I was going through last night these messages between James and I from Our Family Wizard, and these messages we started Our Family Wizard. It's something that court ordered, and we started them when she went to go live with James is when we started Our Family Wizard. And so the first message comes in just a month after he has her, and it just starts. Where the fuck are they? Where did it go? Ooh, I hate my computer, dude. I really hate this computer. I never find anything. So like when you see this, you're just gonna be like, what the fuck? It's total gaslighting. It's complete erasing, like it's the start of erasing some like me out of Delilah's life. And this is this is very common from people I've talked to and heard what he was doing. It's just completely common. Mm-hmm. It's what narcissists do, you know?
Right. Now I saw the recording from, so I thought we'd play that one recording.
Okay, so like the video from YouTube, is that what you're talking about?
No, let me finish, please.
I'm sorry.
All right. Angela, you sent me Delilah's audio somewhere. Where was it?
Right.
That must have been on
yeah, it was
Facebook.
In Signal.
Was it on Signal? Because I was just there and I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was on Signal. And the reason I sent that is because that little video that talks about the narcissist and the signs of a narcissistic parent, they talk about like taking their money and not giving them money. And in that phone call at like 8:40, she's going, he won't let me cash my check, Mom. Tell him to let me cash my check. I just want my money. And this is what the effects are, you know, like, so
Okay.
She's got this narcissistic dad. She calls me. She's crying. There's nothing, what can I do about it? But the damage is being done. Like, this is the damage that's happening. I was trying to find this other audio
Here it is.
that
yeah.
showed a really good example of the gaslight and shit they do. And I just can't find it.
Well, why don't we start out the show where I just asked you, what is gaslighting? What is your, definition of it? You talk about that. And is there any other definitions of gaslighting? Is that an old word?
Yeah, I was looking. I was doing.
Is that
some
an old?
research on this.
Is that an old word or what is that?
Well, it's not that old. It's, the last few years, maybe 5 years or so, I think. But you know where it comes from? It comes from an old ass movie where they gaslight, the husband gaslights this woman for money.
Yeah, what was the
wanted,
movie? Do you remember?
It was called Gaslighting.
Okay, let me look that
We
up.
could probably get a clip of that. That would be cool.
That's what I was going to find.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I just thought of that when you said it. Yeah, it's called Gaslighting. It's like I don't even know, 40s, 50s. I don't know. It's pretty old. But the reason it was called gaslighting is because they used gas lights on the streets, actually. And
was it Gaslight or Gaslighting?
I'm not sure.
There's a 1944 film, Gaslight.
That's it.
Psychological filler of.
Yeah, because he wants her money, and so this husband totally just makes this woman go insane, makes her crazy. Was doing all this stuff to make her think that her mind wasn't right. But the courts do these things with these psychologists and stuff.
This is 1:53.
It was written 2 days before she was murdered.
Where did you find that?
In this score, she must have left it here. It's written by somebody called Sergius Bauer.
Give it to me.
He said I wasn't any liquor. He said I was going out of my mind.
You're not going out of your mind. You're slowly and systematically being driven out of your mind.
But why? Why? Oh, that's wonderful.
And you thought I was being...
So, how about we start out with, what is the definition of gaslighting? We play this clip, and then we move into Delilah's clip. And then
I think we should do Delilah's clip after the YouTube, because the YouTube talks about
then YouTube and then Delilah's. Okay. And then end on Delilah's and then and on your own story and how gaslighting is part of that.
Thoughts corrupt language, and language can also corrupt human relationships. George Orwell said that, which is totally true. So psychological manipulation, I found, is an imbalance in relationships. It is the use of language to benefit one, not only to control the other person, but also with the intention to harm them.
Okay.
Which is totally the balance, the imbalance between our relationship with the judge. You know what I mean? There's an imbalance in there. That's psychological manipulation that these judges are doing to these parents in the courtroom. All this is goes right hand in hand.
Keeping people away
not
from
true.
you, making you a prisoner.
Oh, you're the kindest man in the world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If I were not mad, I could have helped you. Whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. Because I am mad, I hate you. Because I'm mad, I have betrayed you. And because I am mad, I'm rejoicing in my heart without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret. Watching you go with glory in my heart.
I really didn't get what this was about through the trailer.
I like that first one you played where he was like, "You're not mad." She's like, "I'm absolutely," whatever they were saying.
Okay, then we'll play
that
it.
Was a good one.
Okay, well that's the same one. It's just in the beginning. It's it's 1:53, so we'll just play it. But I might just cut it off after the first part then. If I can roll that back.
So where the this is making me mad.
Rewind. I might just play this at the beginning.
Okay, here it is. I'm dropping this in the signal too. So this is what I was talking about from Our Family Wizard. And if you open it and you look at it, Where'd my page go? Okay, here we go. So these things start on 9/17. Delilah moved to live with her dad on 8/30. So this is, about a month after she moves to Montana. And, the whole time he's saying that he don't want to keep my daughter from me, that, he's not going to do anything like that. And the first entry on here is talking about not letting me see my kid. The third entry is me docking, like writing down, like taking note that the first doctor's appointment he made for Delilah being there within a month was a gynecologist appointment. Before, I don't know, he didn't ask me, he didn't say nothing. He just made her a gynecologist appointment, which I find weird.
Yeah. That is
like,
weird.
why are you taking her there? But there's this one entry down here that's really long. And
What does OFW stand for?
Our Family Wizard. It's the name of this app. So you can see this. You can see reading through this. You can see the gaslighting, the manipulation, the games, the tricks he's playing. Like this one right here. He goes, after Angie failed to drop Delilah off Sunday at midnight, I had no other choice but to proceed with my next plan. As I told Angie, I would, and as Officer Jay recommended, I contacted the PBD again, and they opened up a case on parental interference and all the other court order violations Angie has stacked up against her since arriving in Bozeman. Angie stands on, stated on September 2nd on Our Family Wizard message, and it just goes like this. Like, I think he says my name like 4 times in a sentence. Okay. So what he's trying to do is, whoever's reading this or me reading this is like, manipulation to keep repeatedly stating my name with all this negativity, right? To convince somebody of it, like me or whoever's reading this, because our practitioners are connected. Like the GAL could be connected to this, the judges can be connected to the Family Wizard, so everybody can see everything. So there's like transparency, so they say. For me, none of the practitioners connected on this. Ms. Jackson did, nobody did. It was just another way for him to harass me, and now he's using it as a tool. So I don't have my family wizard anymore, because you have to pay for it. It's like $100-something a year, and I don't have it. We were only ordered to do it for a year. So if I text James, he goes straight to Our Family Wizards and puts something in here and will never respond to me. So to me, it was just another way of him playing games and harassing me. So I was like, screw Our Family Wizard. There's plenty of ways to communicate. You know what I mean?
Our Family Wizard is some kind of a program that they've put together?
Yeah, it's an app that is for families that the courts recommend. So it's another one of their money things. And it's you have everything in there, like a calendar, scheduling. It's kind of got like a Facebook thing where you can post memories, and all this communication goes back and forth. They log all of it. This is a log. This has got 103 entries in it, from the first one, and then right before my subscription went out, I ran this report. So it's got everything that we did in the moment section. I didn't get our emails out of there, but they log everything. Like, there's nothing like, if it goes in here, there's a report. You can get a report for it. Okay. Emails, anything. And they can see everything. There's no privacy. It's total transparency, and with the government right in your family with an app to help them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't help. It doesn't any good, because they don't listen to what's real or anyway. They're just making up their lies and doing their narrative. So it's just another. I bet they get a kickback from these from this app. I wouldn't doubt it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. They make deals.
Stargate.
They make deals.
Yeah. So it's $100-something, and they recommended this program. So
it's $100-something.
The court did. Mm-hmm. So I don't like it.
There's this, something called, they're talking about gaslighting, and I was looking up some stuff, and there's this one that talks about how everything, like gaslighting is well, it's a form of mind control, obviously, but it's, how did he, right here, listen to this thing here for a while.
It's a looking glass. And more specifically, the
2012 problem with those projects. The popular opinion of what's out there right now is that the project was shut down because there was a problem
Looking
when we
Glass.
approached 2012.
Looking good. Oh, I heard this.
I've heard it described a number of ways,
Project.
but to my knowledge, the problem is that the
Project Looking Glass.
timelines converge
Yeah.
on that point in time. And when you know enough about the Stargate projects and the Looking Glass project to know how string theory works and how the possibility of possibilities works and how making one choice over here doesn't necessarily mean that the other choice couldn't exist at the same time. But once you get your brain wrapped around this subject, you find out that at the end of 2012, in an easy way to put it, the choices that we
got
make
8 minutes,
become
so if you
less
gotta
and
go to the
less
bathroom or
consequential
something.
to the future. And eventually we're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make.
Yeah.
And
So he's talking about choices. So when we hear the news and they're telling us all the stories and stuff like that, it's what they're afraid of is that more and more people will just tune out and not obey and all that stuff. Gaslighting.
As they should.
But they're not. They don't. They know that the percentages are for them over the years. See. But anyway, listen to this a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. It's an 11-minute video. So.
that's
But we won't
important
listen to the whole
to the people that had access to Looking Glass because they would use Looking Glass knowing the choices that they would make and the future would pop up. The big mistake was coming up with
Well, they have a computer that they'll put scenarios into, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that's what this is what he's talking about in terms of the Looking Glass. It's looking into the future.
with the possibility of future.
That's crazy.
And when we started using a computer to say, well, if we make this choice, it's 79% possible that this scenario happens, and 23% are possible or whatever, I'm using round numbers, that this scenario would happen. The understanding at the time was that was realistic. However, if you go down the road further and free will continues to exercise itself on this game, that 79% possibility sometimes changes very, very fast. But if you look at the situation in a
So they taken these are probably the elites, the scientists of the world and the governments. They use this computer called, Looking Glass, this program. And they input the information and the computer puts out scenarios for them. But what he's saying is that the human, free choice and your free mind,
Free will. It's in the way.
it gets in the way of it. Eventually,
Yeah.
more
I
times
can
than
see
none. Yeah, because the computer can only state what it sees. It can't read
right,
human.
it
It
doesn't have
can't
free
read.
will.
It can't read our human. It can't read human altogether. That's why they're trying to control us so bad. And so this will tie in really good.
You know why? Because the computers don't have spirit. We have
Right.
spirit.
Well, spirit
soul.
and free choice.
Yeah, that's your spirit, your soul. You have that. That's like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because it's not within you. It's not without you or within you. It's just there. Like why do we have spirit?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird. So when you think about it, it's just, we'll probably never know. Well,
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, going through these processes now, we understand that we don't know shit. But what we do know,
I know, right?
but what we do know is that the governments of the world know quite a bit more.
And
they-
they've lied to us.
Yes, and they
know all
lied to
that.
us. Yes, and they're trying
And
to
have
still
a false narrative.
yeah, and they're still trying to hide the information, especially if it affects their money.
point of time, it seems very realistic that that's the greatest possibility. What happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the looking glass inherently ended up in the same future. And no decision, no possibility changed past a certain point.
Does that mean it's all written for us?
No, it means that it's a cycle. It's like we're living in a cycle, and so the computer, the looking glass, can only, when you put scenarios into the computer, it can't look past that. Anyway, it's hard to explain, but I think this is interesting. It just gives you a
Because
lot
of the
of
probabilities, huh?
probabilities. I don't know.
What is the computer just taking
Past
out
a certain
probabilities?
point, yeah, and then it just every time they put it in, it goes to a certain scenario. So let's see what he says.
Only a
That's
human
the
can
big
do that, I
secret.
guess.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game.
So anyway, interesting, huh? So we could play that one.
So I wonder what it does when they know all of the looking glass. Like, what does that? Why does it blow their mind so bad?
I don't know. Here's somebody that says that it's that the event Project Looking Glass, they're trying to stop the second coming of Christ. This is a BitChute. Let's see what this says.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
As any personal knowledge. I do, however, believe in and
Who is
have
that
seen
guy?
information.
It's Bill Wood of Project Camelot. The event is
He looks familiar, but he just looks young to me. Like it looks like I don't know. It's weird.
Both the surface of the moon and the surface of Mars.
I don't know, but he's skinny and his shirt's too big.
He looks young. He looks familiar, but he
His
looks like a
coat's too
younger,
big.
familiar of somebody.
20, 30 years ago.
So anyway, I don't think we'll play.
Maybe those people come and get people out of their sleeps and stuff. They don't know they take them. They do shit on the public all the time without people knowing.
Yeah. Anyway,
They experiment on us.
oh yeah.
I don't want to be experimented on. Do you?
No, but they're gonna do it regardless.
Well, you use a microwave. Do you use it? I don't.
I don't. I took mine out of my house 5 years ago. I haven't used one for 5 years. There's
I
one.
still
There's
have
one
one in my
here.
house.
There's one here at this house, but not at my house.
I still have one in my house. I just don't use it. My daughter would use it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'll get comfortable in my space. Like I'll have it like comfy somehow. Someone.
One day.
I wanted to give my pregnant lady in this shot, but she never makes it in.
You're what? Pregnant?
The mannequin I have.
Oh yeah.
I look at the mannequins. I got legs, and I got some really nice looking legs, dude. It's like, holy shit, her ass is nice looking. She does. She's got this sweet little ass. It's funny. She's in my dining room right now.
She's in the dining room, hanging
Yeah,
out.
she's hanging out in the dining room.
What do you think of Jennifer? Man, she was a little crazy. on the
Whoa!
video the other night. Jesus.
I don't ever want to be live with her.
I mean, she's a little.
Don't ever do that.
And she's having issues with that boyfriend. She keeps flirting with me. Like, oh, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation.
Don't ever do that, Joe. Don't ever put me live with her.
I don't know. She might be good. Like when she gets her new teeth, she might be like a powerhouse on camera. We'll see.
Like when Crystal came around first, I was like, come on. And I was like, I'll give her a chance. I don't know if I can give Jennifer a chance, but I'm glad I gave Crystal a chance. Like completely 100% glad that I didn't just like judge or go off like just how
and we're doing well with that. We're gonna go ahead and go live as we talk. But yeah, we're doing well, not judging people, giving them a chance. So we've made it through a couple of those, and look where it got us. It still got us a good relationship, and we're making headway. So anyway, but people are
more and more people. You know, and Crystal, she's a good little team player. You know, she's got a heart and drive. I like being on her team.
Oh, what do we got? I got 2. Oh. All right, let me turn that one down.
What do you got going on?
Oh, I had 2 music things going on there. Sorry about that, folks. I'm like monitoring here on my phone. And I'm like, oh shit, I put 2 music tracks playing at the same time. So it's like, wow. All right, well, we're live now. We just got to start sharing it out a little bit. Hey, if you're listening right now, folks, please share this show out. We need your help here at InfoWin New News. If you want to be part of our broadcasting efforts and news organization building, please go to infowindnewnews.com and hit the Join the Team button. Here we go. infowindnewnews.com. I put that on the screen for you. And hit the Join the Team button and make sure you join our news organization, because we're looking for more help out there in the world. And and if you want to be a guest on the show, and if you want to start your own podcast within InfoWind New News, you can do that. And we can produce your news segments on our platforms.
And if you're from the St. Louis area, Joe, don't forget, I'm looking for people to come forward with their stories too from St. Louis.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we say that too? In Sacramento, California, we're helping somebody organize protests out there to help women and men that have lost their children in the court systems and CPS and all that. So we want you to contact us at infowindnewnews.com, and we'll give you a list of all the different things that we know about that we're working on in terms of supporting people that are trying to get their kids back and fighting against this tyrannical court system here in America. So in St. Louis, Missouri area, Angela, our contributor, she is also organizing one. So go ahead and talk about that again, and I'll just go ahead. I'll get you on camera, and we can go ahead and start the show.
I'm just looking for people that have been in the St. Louis County, St. Louis County courthouse and the family courts that have dealt with the same kind of things to come forward, get a hold of me. We want to hear your stories. We want to get together. I know we've been trying for a while now. Me and a girl named Stacy, we've been trying to get families together. It seems slow, but it doesn't seem like anything's moving. So I really encourage anybody that's in St. Louis County to come forward with their story and give a hold of me or Stacy or just anybody. Really, and Stacy's got a group. And I have a group. Where is Delilah? You can get a hold of me there. Okay. I have a page, but we're just looking for more people to come forward so we can start doing things as a team to try to start knocking down this court system.
Right. And so if you guys are watching out there, make sure you do contact us. If you want to know about these, probably the easiest thing to do would just go to infowindnewnews.com and send us some email or something. That way we can put you on our email list. We're collecting emails. We're trying to organize and help other people organize protests, other gatherings, and other information. We're trying to get out there to the public. So we want to help anybody. We're actually working on commercials as well for the general public. And so we invite you to be part of that. If you want to help us with that, we're looking for graphics designers. It's all in at infowindnewnews.com, where it talks about joining the team there, and you hit that button, and boom, you can get a form there where you have a few choices and you can help us out. But regardless, if you want to know where the protests are and all that stuff, we can help you and direct you. If you know anybody that's being trafficked or exploited right now, we also can help with that at infowinnews.com. So make sure you go there and contact us, and we can help you there in several different ways. So, Angela, what is gaslighting?
Okay. Yes. Gaslighting is, by definition, it is, let's see here. Psychological manipulation is an imbalance in relationships. It is the use of language to benefit oneself, not only to control the other person, but also with the intention of harming them. So when I was reading through some of my stuff and finding all these flags of gaslighting with the judges and the court system, I related with this completely with the judge. That relationship in the courtroom is completely unbalanced. They have all the power and they're not there to, my judge was trying to harm me for sure. She was looking to put me in jail. Like she was not in my best interest or my child's best interest. So they're just, the minute you walk in, you're being attacked with this stuff. And people just don't know it, Joe. They don't know that this happens in there. So they don't expect it. So it like blindsides them, they just get knocked by it out of nowhere. And before you know it, they're asking like, what the hell just happened? Their kids gone, even their kids gone.
And so explain to people how they've missed the boat. I mean, for how many years have they missed the boat, and why has all this taken everybody by surprise?
Oh, well, you know me, Joe. I don't think the court system missed the boat. This is their plan.
No, I mean people. How did people miss the boat? Because they obeyed. They were obeying for so many years, and they bought into the fact that, oh, CPS is a good organization because they're protecting the kids.
Well, that's what we're taught since we are babies. It's your perception is basically your reality, and your perception is based off like your mother's perception or your father's perception. So, you really don't have your own perception of the world. So you get basically programmed, or these ideas or thoughts or these things like instilled in you, and you grow up just believing, That's why they've been able to do this to us for so long, because we just mimic like what we know, what we see. And we usually learn like everything we're going to learn like up till the age of 7. And then it's just repetitive. Like you have to like go in and like focus on changing stuff or do things over and over and over again. Like when you're in a sport or at school and you're trying to learn how they like you're spelling words, how they had you write them 100 times. It's because you have to do that to like change the programming.
Mm-hmm.
We're a lot like computers. We really are.
Gaslighting is like a computer that's keeps telling us what to do.
Yeah. Well, the string theory, the looking glass, is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah, because they, there's that too. We're going to talk about the looking glass thing tonight. We're also going to watch another video that explains what a narcissist is, and in an animated way, animation type video, but and some other points. But how long, like I say, why, people I think now are surprised at how bad it is, how bad the controls are.
For some reason, I think people have been seeing this, but they were too afraid to speak. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, how does somebody not stand up to this for themselves, like with their kids? I mean, how did people just put their head down, and just go through it for so long and never ever say nothing, get loud enough where people were hearing you, like. So
when you think of gaslighting, can we say that the NFL and all these sports events, how they kept people's minds busy all these years, and then chasing the almighty, what's the American dream? Do you think that's gaslighting?
Well, all of that is gaslighting. The whole media, the mainstream media, is nothing but gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. So when we hear the term American dream, I mean, in the government,
do you know what that is?
Yeah. Did we know what it was? Did we understand it? No. I think this is what I was trying to get at, is how many years has this gone on?
Oh, for generations.
And you know,
Long time.
people are just now. A lot of people, or several people, are waking up to the fact that this is a real bad situation in terms of what we let it become here in America. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but they didn't know, you know,
They didn't know because of the gaslighting and how they became
the
conditioned.
manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
If you
keep
can
talking
control
about
the
that.
mind, if you can control the mind, you can control the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you have this knowledge about like who we are, and you're not telling anybody, and you're telling them something different, you're rewriting stuff, and you're gaslighting them. Oh no, you're crazy. Just because you found those whatever you dug up, it wasn't there. You know, it's that kind of stuff that they just change what they wanted to, when they wanted to, how they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And so is gaslighting? It's a mind control. So the more that they can throw things at us on a regular basis, such as a verbiage or a phrase or a video clip, is that gaslighting, or is it a little more deeper than that?
Just anything that, if you want to control someone or have bad intentions, harm, where you have to like have tomfoolery going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's so much in this world. Like this world really has a lot of healing to do because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when people start to figure out what's going on, you get mad. I mean, when you started figuring out, weren't you angry?
Yeah, I was very, well, emotionally disturbed, and that's why I got into broadcasting 11 years ago, and almost 11, or at least post-production, not live broadcasting. And I got into because I was pissed.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was pissed. I was pissed at what I was seeing. I mean, this whole thing became a joke to me when I started seeing the reality of what is really going on in America and the world. And I was pissed off, you know, so I'm still pissed off. But at the same time, I'm like even more scared because I understand how big and how powerful this movement is.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? Because, you know, I've seen people eliminated out there. I've seen people, anti-vaxxers in California, just, you know, killed. And I did, you know, promotions on her death on my website, and I'll pull it up before the show since I brought it up because so you know, is gaslighting used? You know, is it a propaganda method? What would you say it is? And can you give people an example politically how they might use it?
I think it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's evil people. It's just, you know, it's manipulation. It's creating false realities for people to control them and do what they will with them, you know.
So the false reality,
like the jab, that was all psychological manipulation.
Right?
That was gaslighting.
Right, and
they had the whole country at home.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
They gaslighted people so bad that they actually stopped. Instead of moving a nation, they stopped a nation. They stopped us dead in our tracks. And what, to take inventory about who knows and stuff and who doesn't and who's afraid. Oh, those people don't have their mask on, so we know how far they are in their spiritual journey. What was that, to kind of see where the people were, and then get stuff in place. But telling you that it's all this die.
It's called the American. Listen, yeah, you're right. No, I'm listening to you. It's called Kyle Orble. Says it's called the American Dream because you got to be asleep to believe it.
That's right.
And this is the thing, and I tell these Trump supporters this all the time, and it really bothers me when I talk to the Trump supporters and the Christians because they well, thank God Dinesh D'Souza, how do you say his last name? You know, Dinesh. Guy that he creates films, and he's a right-wing activist, and he's good, he's great, and he's a filmmaker. So we're actually a couple of our group members know his team. But the new merger I'm going into, these folks actually know these folks.
The people with the incognito money.
Yeah, incognito money. Yeah, this is the crypto. Yeah, the crypto incognito. And blockchain crypto. And but anyway, Dinesh, he was on live today with a big rally where there were several speakers, and I wouldn't mind talking about it later, but on another podcast. But it was pretty good, and it was just talking about the fact that, and he just admitted that he can't sit here anymore and support Trump when he is the vaccine king. I mean, this guy is the big pharma supporter. And here we have been trying to fight it for years, and Trump comes along and saves the day for the big pharma on our account. Now, how about that? How about that? And then you Trump supporters keep supporting this guy and thinking you should have him as your president. Well, that's not going to change anything, unless enough of those people wake up from the gaslighting.
Yeah, to me, they're all the one and the same. The left, the right, the elite, whatever you want to call them. They're all the same. All the same people.
So I'd love to have a Trump supporter, call. We could I'll put a phone line on today, and I'll just put something out there. But anyway, so it disappoints me. So I was pissed off when all this started happening. So yeah, but the point of I don't know what video we should go to, but the point is that it's just like your life. You can, like anything that you decide to do, you can do if you try hard enough. Just like when they say that, right?
Well,
so if you try hard enough, you can do anything. You've heard that, right?
Well, just with your thoughts,
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can do anything, as they tell you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is the same concept of gaslighting. In other words, they can keep telling you the same thing over and over again until you.
Well, they make you question yourself
until you accept it, and they make you they question your other realities, So they steer you towards a new reality. Is that what gaslighting is? Where they steer you towards a new reality to make you accept a new reality, even though the reality is not there.
Because it wasn't real in the first place.
Well, this is the whole point of that video earlier, is that we can create anything as humans. So we are creators. We are godlike. So so that means we could create anything. So gaslighting, in a sense, is a multilateral effort to move total humanity to certain aspects. But so anyway, interesting. What do you think we should do next? Should we go into one of the videos, or which one?
Yeah, let's do that. You mentioned the looking glass already.
Right.
That's interesting.
You want to go with the looking glass one first?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, let's see.
String
Let me
theory.
get that.
Nothability.
Yeah, let me just get that up here. Here we go, and enjoy this. It's about we're not going to watch the whole thing. It's an 11-minute video, and then we'll come back or if you want, Angela, we can stop the tape. So just say hold up, or say something, and then we can stop the tape. Why is this not okay? Hold on, I got to add a screen here. All right. Display capture. Here we go. All right, Angela. Here we go. All right. And do you want me to screen share this with you, or
caveats that I do have some personal information that I did get personally involved in was some information that had to do with the Stargates and Looking Glass, and more specifically the 2012 problem with those projects. The popular opinion of what's out there right now is that the project was shut down because there was a problem when we approached 2012. I've heard it described a number of ways, but to my knowledge, the problem is that the timelines converge on that point. in time. And when you...
So each time, I think what he was saying is that they put information in for the future a while back under Project Looking Glass. And then each time they put in every scenario, it would come to this point of some point in time, I believe is what he was saying.
know enough about the Stargate projects and the Looking Glass project to know how string theory works and how the possibility of possibilities works and how making one choice over here doesn't necessarily mean that the other choice couldn't exist at the same time. But once you get your brain wrapped around this subject, you find out that at the end of 2012, in an easy way to put it, the choices that we make become less and less consequential to the future. And eventually we're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make. And that's important to the people that had access to Looking Glass because they would use Looking Glass knowing the choices that they would make and the future would pop up. The big mistake was coming up with the possibility of future. And when we started using a computer to say, well, if we make this choice, it's 79% possible that this scenario happens, and 23% are possible or whatever, using round numbers, that this scenario would happen. The understanding at the time was that was realistic. However, if you go down the road further and free will continues to exercise itself on this game, that 79% possibility sometimes changes very, very fast. But if you look at the situation in a point of time, it seems very realistic that that's the greatest possibility. What happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the Looking Glass inherently ended up in the same future. And no decision, no possibility changed past a certain point. That's the big secret. All possible timelines lead to
well, you notice
same...
he doesn't give us what exactly this is, so it's very limited detail. But anyway, so that's good enough for that. But it gives you an idea. Project Looking Glass, everybody, if you want to check that out, interesting stuff there when it comes to this. Yeah. Did you want me to play a little more of that, or I can't remember if there was another spot in there we listened to earlier. Oh, you have to unmute again. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I forgot. It makes me think that he's saying there's no free will, because if everything comes to the same point, no matter what, then where would free will go?
Mm-hmm. I'll keep this on the screen and then on the broadcast, and then we'll play a little bit more.
Basic set of history in the future. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game. And nothing could be manipulated beyond that point. When I was in the military, it would have been before 97 when I got in trouble. One of my particular areas that I was amazingly intuitive about is problem solving / mission planning, or more specifically, taking a bad mission and fixing it. Certainly knowing how string theory and possible futures works makes it so you can work your mind very quickly to see the reality of what's happening and decide what decisions need to be made to change it for a particular outcome. At a certain point, after they're done hearing the computer tell them, this is what's going to happen, over and over and over and over again.
So it told them kind of the same, I'm thinking some kind of a doomsday scenario for each scenario they put in. That's what I'm thinking.
What I'm focused on is, how do we fix it? What I do know is that I was called in and asked to solve this problem, this timeline contraction problem. And I eventually did my due diligence and did all the investigating and basically only had one piece of information, and that was reinforcement. The computer's right. The timelines will contract down to some inevitable thing. There is an inevitable event. It's been forecast, it's been predicted, it's been fed to us in a slop trough of what they want us to believe will happen. They don't actually have control over what happens. They only have control over the reaction, and it seems that no matter what they try to do to cause their desired reaction, it's going to have an opposite effect. Much, much easier for me to explain today what that process is as opposed to back then. If I had to give it a name, I would say it's the awakening process. It's an evolution of consciousness that cannot, will not, and no matter what decisions or possibilities are injected into the equation, eventually it all resolves down to us all learning the truth and becoming aware of.
So what does that tell you? That tells me that there is, well, I think of the pyramids. I think of the speed of light. I think of power, Tesla.
Right.
I think of that. I think of Tesla. You know, I think of medical. I think of our health because when you think of the scenarios concerning the hidden knowledge, men and women used to live possibly till 300 years old, or older, and how the degradation of that over a time period is for a reason.
Right.
What is that reason? That's another question. But my point is like this whole thing is tied to the lack of knowledge. My people perish for a lack of knowledge, this being supposedly said at one point. But so that's one scenario. But the knowledge, of the fact that we probably don't need oil. We probably don't need bills coming in the mail all the time. We probably don't need packaged food. We probably don't need, these are examples I'm telling you. We probably don't need 5G that gives you cancer and scrambles your cells and surveils your life to the point that you can't even breathe. It takes breath out of your lungs, 5G does, the frequency.
It changes your cells.
It changes your cells in your body. It mixes it. It scrambles your cells so that your cells can make virus. Whales make thousands of viruses a day. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. They developed them in the Cold War, so just in case somebody would have survived, we were bombed, that's why they built the 5G towers. That's what they originally were for, was after we were nuked, if somebody survived, they would be able to reach them.
Yeah.
Those things can, they can work up to about 100 miles apart from each other. So why do they have them on every, so many blocks, almost every corner?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's not for the speed. Everybody, so y'all know, and if you're listening to this podcast, or am I on? Are we on? Hold on, I got to get us on screen. I apologize.
You're in control, Joe.
I know I'm supposed to be in control here, but people, it's no. This 5G has nothing to do with speed, although it's going to affect the speed.
They can do a lot with
It's
5G to us.
it's more than that, you know, just obviously.
Well, you know how in Missouri they had the whole Ferguson started the Black Lives Matter movement. I think it started from that riot up there, and you know it was all planned. That was planned, brought in actors, whatever. Well, that's because they made it they're making it a smart city now. You know, so they can come in with the 5G.
Yeah, nothing is real. Nothing is real.
Split people, you know.
Yeah.
Split them in half. You know, start all this stuff, white skins, blacks, whatever, you know, just stupid crap, right? And distract them from even knowing that they're putting the 5G all around them and making the smart city to control them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that kind of stuff. That's gaslighting. You know, they do it all the time. They're controlling us with it.
Mm-hmm. So let's get back to gaslighting. Go on with gaslighting. We'll get into these documents. I have the documents ready, the 3 documents. I have also the animated video, the animation video.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. It's about like a parent gaslighting their kids and the things they do.
Okay, maybe we should go to that, and then you know.
Yeah, because a lot of these kids are going through this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff they're going through. Like, this is what's being done to my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay.
So why she won't call home, you know, she hasn't called her friends, hasn't been on social media in like a year. It's all this gaslighting, isolation, control. It's sick.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
All right, we'll analyze this, and you can compare it to your present situation with the state of the United States of America, the corporate state of America. Kidnapping your children, giving them drugs and brainwashing them against their mother. So we'll listen to this first and we'll come back.
When it comes to abusive parents, what comes to your mind? Do you think of physical, mental, and sexual abuse? Parents can be abusive in ways that are hard to detect. It doesn't matter how the parents express it, though. Abuse is abuse.
And you can take a break just for a little bit, Angela.
Long-term abuse will increase the chances of developing serious mental health problems that will be dragged into
mute
adulthood.
if you want.
Different forms of abuse will affect children in numerous ways. Curious to know more? Here are 14 subtle things an abusive parent can do to their children. 1. Little to no privacy. There's a huge difference between a parent protecting their child from harm versus giving them a lack of privacy. It's essential for parents to provide age-appropriate privacy to their children, such as allowing them to change alone in their room. 2. Invalidating emotions and reality. Parents can invalidate their children's feelings by telling them how to feel, or completely denying their feelings altogether. This makes children feel unheard and internally conflicted. In the long run, children will have difficulties trusting their judgment and making decisions. 3. Giving the silent treatment. It's an immature way of handling things, and it's emotionally abusive. Parents use this tactic to exert their power or punish their children. Due to this, the children feel unheard, rejected, and develop low self-esteem. 4. Playing the victim card. This type of behavior is emotionally abusive because the parent doesn't take responsibility for their actions. This in turn can affect children in 2 ways. They can learn this type of behavior and use it as a coping mechanism when they're older, or develop feelings of guilt and shame and blame themselves for things that they shouldn't. 5. Gaslighting. This is a type of psychological abuse, and it's difficult to detect. It's a type of manipulation where the abuser creates doubt and confusion within the victim. A parent who gaslights their children will leave them feeling insecure, paranoid, anxious, and mistrusting. In extreme cases, the child will end up questioning their reality. 6. Threats of violence. It's emotionally abusive for parents to threaten their child with physical violence, even if they aren't going to use it. Children end up feeling unsafe around their parents and don't want to be home. 7. Favoring a child over another. Parents can act differently with their favorite child. For instance, giving them more attention, better gifts, less discipline, and more privileges. This will affect the other child by decreasing their self-esteem. They can develop depression, feel rejected, feel inadequate, and in the long run, fall into similar relationships outside of the home. 8. Being overly critical. This type of abuse occurs when a parent repeatedly criticizes their child. For example, harshly comparing their children with one another. Children end up developing low self-esteem, feeling inadequate, and worthless. 9. Taking control of your finances. Parents who take away their child's money are abusive and believe their children owe them. It's not the child's responsibility to pay back for anything. On the contrary, children should be encouraged to develop independence and learn how to correctly handle their money. 10. Emotionally absent. This type of abuse is again difficult to detect. In many cases, children don't notice they're being abused. When a parent is emotionally absent, the child will end up feeling unappreciated and unsupported. In severe cases, children can develop depression and become needy as an adult. 11. Using guilt. Parents who are constantly guilt-tripping their children are emotionally abusive, and it's a form of manipulation. This damages the child's confidence and self-expression. They end up feeling like a disappointment, and in many cases, children feel guilty for everything they do, even when it's correct. 12. Humiliation. Intentionally humiliating a child as punishment causes more harm than good. It emotionally drains children and affects their self-worth. It also teaches children that it's okay to bully one another. In the long run, children end up feeling shameful and become preoccupied with what others think of them. 13. Earning your parents' love. Parents should love their children unconditionally, but that isn't always the case. Parents who love conditionally withdraw love to manipulate the children into doing what they want. They only show affection when the children are behaving how they want them to. This deeply affects children emotionally. And lastly, 14. Taking away your independence. Some parents want their children to depend on them. It's their way of maintaining power and control, and this hinders the child's development. A parent can go as far as not allowing their child to make a single decision and even prevent them from learning necessary skills they need to become successful adults. Many of us struggle with different forms of abuse growing up. A lot of the times, it can be unintentional. No one's perfect, and sometimes parents can do harm to their children unwillingly. This obviously doesn't excuse their behavior. Parents need to become aware of how their behavior affects their children. Have you struggled with any of these types of abuse? Or are you the parent who unconsciously did these things to your child? Let us know in the comment section below. Remember, being aware of these behaviors is the key to healing and changing your life for the better. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like, share this with someone who could benefit from it, and subscribe to Psych2Go for more psychology videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
Well,
A very strange day is coming to America.
A
In
very
short,
strange day
a
is coming to
massive and
America.
Surprising new transition could soon determine the next group of millionaires while leaving 99%.
See? Millionaires everywhere. It's the American dream. You're muted. Mute.
That's because the money's incognito. We can all be rich now.
Well, it's starting to be incognito now. So now they can just say anything. There's money here. There's money there. There's money down there. There's money over there. There's money everywhere. But you can't have that without a code.
You can't touch it.
Or
it's not tangible.
you can't have that without, your vaccine card or something.
Or something, yeah. No, aren't they taking all the change? Did they stop making pennies or something?
What?
Didn't they stop making pennies or something? Like, when they're change short?
Yeah, well, they took, those Coinstar machines. Well, how did all those just started disappearing out of the stores? And, well, they put them out of order. I went into 5 stores, and, here I had a whole bunch of change about 5-6 months ago.
They're, like, phasing it out.
Yeah. They're trying to get rid of everything. So they're putting, they're getting ready. That's why the Bitcoin is under attack right now, is because the governments are attacking it, trying to figure out how they can put a layer into it that
how they can get their hands on it.
Yes, and how they can control enough of it to get taxes and everything else,
right?
And information. So Bitcoin is under attack. Bitcoin has been at 47,000 for almost a month now. And it hasn't moved. It just keeps bucking up to 49,000, back down to 47,000. And yeah, the whole thing it's like trading, it's like trading. It's like the stock market and all that in a way. But it's not based on companies altogether. It's based on people's investments. Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, it's incognito.
Yeah, it's just Dang, it's cloaking itself.
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty wild what's going on with everything. Crystal's on the phone. Go ahead, Crystal. Can you hear us?
Hi, I'm just now jumping on. So I watched a little bit of your clip. So you guys are talking about gaslighting. So you're talking about like psychological warfare, right? Like gaslighting.
Pretty much. I guess you could call it one and the same.
So okay. So yeah, I was just trying to see what was going on with
Yeah, we're just live doing a show.
Well, I was talking about Delilah, and you were talking the other night about being where Delilah's at. How much gaslighting did they do to you? Like, how much did they tell you that were lies to pin you against your mom?
Yeah, yep, they sure do. They'll give you false hope. They'll lie to you. You know, it's psychological abuse. Yeah.
I remember you saying they kept telling you that you were going to go home, but you never did. I mean, that's what stood out to me in your interview.
Yeah, and then they make you feel like you're the one that was in the wrong. You question your own sanity pretty much, you know?
Right. So they kept telling you you could go home, then you never did. So, I just wonder what they're telling Delilah to where she doesn't even want to see me. Like, how much damage are they doing?
It causes a lot of confusion and anxiety, and the way you see things.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why they got them on the drugs. So it goes back into big pharma, and back in your circle, in the faith circle, like of their crap. Like, if this isn't slavery, I don't know what is.
It is. It's modern day slavery.
It's terrible.
And so we're under attack all over the place. And so, yeah,
in every aspect.
So today we're trying to just teach people how it happened a little bit, how they do this.
How they do this is by manipulation and control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about all the little tools, the bells and whistles that go along with gaslighting, propaganda, the whole thing. So that's kind of what we're focused on the show today.
So when you start to break free and start to know this, what they do, they hurt you. They would take your kid, they do whatever to try to keep you from, just shut up. They attack you. Like, why do they? There's no reason that this is going on other than malicious, intended harm towards the families. Like this isn't by accident. This isn't because I was a bad mom or my home wasn't safe. It's none of that.
This doesn't just happen, in abusive relationships. This happens, even in, children that are in the system. They're abusing their power and manipulating their form of manipulation. That's how they're doing this, and they're doing it to everyone, and it's a systematic issue.
Do you think it has to do with any kind of a ritual or religion, or why does this happen? Why does this happen century after century?
Well, I believe that history certainly repeats itself. I believe, it takes a certain type of person, normal, what is normal anyways, but,
that's not normal.
To go around like that, you got to be a black soul. They talk about these black souls. Anybody with sympathy or empathy wouldn't do something like that. But it just seems to be more evil than good in the world,
So a lot of people are speculating that the alternative media realms about that, and they're saying, well, maybe there's another species.
Are they saying that now?
Well, there's a lot of people that believe that. That was in my circle out of Chicago. Edward, the old guy, and he does these podcasts, and he taught, he's pretty much agnostic, but he talks about this kind of stuff. So he was bringing that up a couple weeks ago before I think he got a little sick. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I think
why wouldn't there be other things? I mean, why would we be the only thing out here?
Well, what he's saying is like, somewhere down the road, there's, even biblical proof that something happened in the garden, that actually screwed up the DNA in some things, especially the woman. And evidently this is what he thinks happened scientifically. Now, and then he talks about the, yeah. So I don't know if that's making any sense, but he talks about this kind of stuff where, I'm kind of losing my train of thought, but anyway. Yeah. Gaslighting. You can believe anything you want. In other words, religion. So he talks about religion a lot. What is that?
Well, it only takes a generation to lose the history,
right,
to change it on a person, like to where people don't remember. It only takes one generation to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing. So, they can switch the story and manipulate and gaslight us so many times now that people don't know who they are, where they come from, like why they're here. They don't know. It's not what they've been telling us. There's a lot of theories out there. I guess you just got to find that for yourself, what you feel is your truth. And just if it resonates, go with it, right?
Mm-hmm. So we're going to get into
which one do you believe, Joe? Which theory do you believe?
Well, I don't believe that we have a... yeah, so when it comes to the aliens, the... what I was just talking about, when they come a new species or an old species that intertwined with humanity is really what that is. I think it's the
Nephilims.
Right.
The Nephilim when they come down.
And that would make sense scientifically if you really thought about it in a scientific way, in terms of DNA and the way And Crystal, you don't have to stay on the line, dear. Maybe just maybe just listen. But unless you got something else to say, but if from my standpoint, it could be a combination of both. I think it was more of a slight alter in certain humans' human history.
DNA?
Yeah, just in certain strains of humans, and that's why they're so hell bent. In my opinion, this could be why they're hell bent in getting everybody's DNA and RNA.
Well, you're talking about like the Anunnaki when they came.
Right. They can tell
right.
everything now, so they can look at they can find those people now.
And they had workers mining. Yeah. They were
Mm-hmm.
mining the earth.
Yeah.
Right. So they were trying to make the perfect.
This is true.
I guess like a slave, right?
Yes. So this is a big, yeah, and it's tied into science, like it should be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It should be tied to science. I'm fine with it. I'm just saying that it is the DNA and RNA that they are tabulating us with, and they're going back in history and comparing to historic DNA. And then they're putting tribal lines together is what they're doing. They're which is very interesting. That would be very interesting. Now, to me, it's like that's interesting. I don't like the fact that they're there's a lot of evil in that, because when we become surveilled, we're pretty much screwed. So once they know everything about you, it's like you have no privacy. What do you have?
So I just had one last question. Is this like a genetic behavior or is it learned?
The narcissist thing?
No, I think she's talking about the gaslighting and how gaslighting does. But Angela, you say it, and we're going to get into that after we hang up here. But to narcissist, ways of thinking kind of tie into gaslighting. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, because I think that something doesn't develop in their brain right. Like they didn't develop something, from what I understand. I don't know exactly, but I don't think it's a learned behavior.
Okay.
I think it's something that you are, like, you know, when you're just like a social path that you can't, you know, your brain's not firing correctly or whatever. It's something to do with that kind of nature. Like they just are. I don't think people learn it or just become narcissists. I think this is just in their DNA, just them, who they are. I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into that.
It's a good question. But I think it's a combination of both when it comes to humanity and how we were, what happened in history. It's a combination of some DNA. Could be animal. It could be animal. It could be, you know, I think something scientific happened, and some people's brains got, you know, the DNA.
And you think created this?
So their, you know, evil tactics and their psychology with, you know, scientifically, this explains a lot of it.
Well, how about this? We know that when they look at the brain, they can see certain, you know, consistencies in human brains. So some human brains have this, some human brains have this, you know, basically they're all the same, but there's some that have certain chemicals that others don't.
Right. Yeah, this explains it. All right, guys, I'll stay and watch.
Thanks.
So let me go in case someone else wants to call in.
Thanks.
But yeah, so that explains the long-term effects of gaslighting.
Yep.
Yep.
So share this out anyway. We had some good engagement earlier, but it's kind of dropping off now. So we'll please share it out. Thanks, Crystal, for calling.
I sure will.
All right, dear.
All right.
I'll talk to you after. Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. So anyway, where were we? We're gonna go on these documents. So why don't you explain?
I think it's just one. And it's just the things that narcissists do, so you can like point it out.
Okay.
You know, and
I got it up on the screen here.
I can't see your screen.
I will share screen. Do you want me to share screen with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do that. Pull this off. And put this over here.
You know, that video, my kid has gone through a lot of those things for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, she says that she's better. You know, she said, I went and got better at that place. Like they fixed her.
They fixed her.
How do you do that?
Yeah, and only like what, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, all of a sudden she had a different way of thinking.
Well,
all right.
2 months.
All right, I got this up here now. So it says 11 examples of what 11 examples of what a narcissist does.
Right.
And could you, as you go through this, could you just compare it to current government, please, for each one?
Current government.
You know, current experiences and.
Well, just with the courts.
Yeah, with when it says tells you blatant lies. So just start with that, you know, and it gives some examples.
You in family court.
Right.
They tell you blatant lies. They don't. They can just hearsay of anything, and you have to accept it. And it starts to make you feel crazy. You're just like, what? Because you know these people are lying. You know they're committing fraud on the.
Whoops! I accidentally muted her. That was my fault. I muted you. That was my fault, accidentally, because I'm trying to get you on a little bigger here. But okay, sorry about that, Angela. Go ahead and unmute. Go ahead and unmute, dear. Sorry about that.
I didn't know I was muted this whole time.
No, you weren't the whole time. Just for a second. No, I just did it.
Gotcha.
Just a second. Yeah, I hit the wrong button. So, okay, sorry about that. So yeah, tells blatant lies, and then you were telling it. You know, go ahead. Court system.
You know, it wears on you.
Yeah.
They just. Nothing's happening. They're committing all this fraud on the court, which, you know, something should be done, but it doesn't. They do nothing, you know. Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And then they deny things, you know, you have proof of. That happens all the time, especially with, like, in my case, because I recorded everything. And they still want to say I'm lying. And you know, but they don't want to accept your evidence. They don't want to look at it or acknowledge it or they would put it any weight to it. And you get so frustrated because you just want them to do what's right, and they're not. Mm-hmm. No matter what you do, they won't do what's right. When they're out to take your kid, they're out to take your kid. It don't matter what happens. You can act any way, really, I found in court, and it doesn't matter. The outcome's going to be the same. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they use your things as ammunition. That's her dad. Taking your child is a terrible thing. It's the worst kind of gaslighting there is. And the government's helping them do it. You know, they're part of it. Because, they went beyond and above and beyond for James. I couldn't believe some of the things they were doing. Yeah. The cops that were coming to my house, telling me they're going to drag my kid out of my home. Just beyond. Mm-hmm. And you get worn down, so they wear you down over time. Like this, I've been fighting this battle. I think I'm going in year 4. Yeah, like who wants to fight for 3-4 years constantly? Who wants to live like that? That is part of this is all gaslighting, manipulation, control. It goes hand in hand with everything else. It's like I've been fighting not with just her dad, but the courts. You know, I'm going to go into family court and come out with a felony charge. Like, what does that make sense? Why would they even? How does that even happen? How does that happen, Joe?
I don't know.
How do you get a felony for going to family court?
That's a good question, and so the general public should help us out by, if they by some chance somebody that hasn't ever listened to our shows, don't understand, please contact us. We'll give you all the documents and everything as to how this happens. But we do have that. We do have, the proof. We have some proof of how it happened, right? But why it happened? It happened because they can. No, we have proof. We have the proof that the how they did it was, manipulation. So anyway.
Well, what does it matter? Like, I'm sitting here with all this proof, and we know that where my daughter is not safe, but.
Oh, that's what I want to do. Yeah, with that, we should play what your daughter said in here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's listen to a little bit of this real quick.
So this is
So set that up real quick.
Yeah. So this is what happens when they control, when they control their money. They have no privacy. They just want the control of the kid. Mm-hmm. This is James doing that to Delilah. This is her calling home from his house over the summer before she had to live there.
Okay. Here we go.
So far away.
Why? To you it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you okay, baby? She starts talking about it.
He's such an asshole.
What happened this afternoon that got it started? Now go further.
What's that? Hold on. Okay, what?
Go to 8:40. That's where she starts talking about it.
About how you were trying to miss you a lot.
I wish there was something I could do.
Here we go.
I'd do it if
She's
I could.
crying. She's crying.
The thing is, in court, they're going to deny everything I say. Nobody's going to believe me.
Yes, they will believe you.
Is that what?
They're not going to believe her in court. Baby, I promise they'll believe your words.
I don't want him to be in the room whenever I told so.
Nobody's going to be in the room, me or your dad.
I don't want to be around him.
I don't want to be what?
Is Uncle David making it better while you're there?
Do you want to be grounded?
She doesn't want to be around him.
Oh, around him. That's right.
She's talking about that because she's getting ready to testify. This is the summer before we went to court, and they took her, after that in August. Mm-hmm. This is a phone call right before that. So she's calling and talking about how she doesn't think anybody's going to believe her in court. They're not going to listen to her. They're not going to hear her. They're not going to believe her. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't listen to her. They forced her. We've all heard the audio. They forced her. from that courtroom that day. So much so they put her in a mental ward to get her out of there, put me in jail just to take her.
Right.
Why? Why would they force a little girl? Why would they go to those measures to force a little girl somewhere?
Right. So this was in this whole custody thing, and these people are just. And then look what happened. The mother is now like, accused of being too passionate about wanting to have a freaking relationship with her own child.
Oh, I just got a Christmas card from her.
Just
Came in the
today?
mail. No, I forgot to tell you, just like a day or two ago. But it's not like that. You know what it says? Warm wishes or something. Warm regards, Delilah Love. That's it.
Oh boy.
Like, was that done intentionally? Like, she left. I didn't need the card.
That's
it
pretty
was
bad.
just so impersonal. Like, that I wasn't even her mom, or like my birthday's on Christmas. There was no happy birthday. There, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was warm regards.
That's crazy.
I think. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
That's not my daughter.
No, I know, because I heard both sides, on this whole thing. It's crazy. All right, let's see.
After, we were watching like the web thingy today, and like he could just tell that I was upset. He goes, "What'd you guys do to Bright D?"
Aww. She's talking about the uncle.
What?
She's talking about the uncle, but I think you passed the part where she was talking about the money.
Oh.
Oh, well, never feel at home here.
No.
This is 8:40.
I'm sorry, baby. I wish there was something I could do. You know I'd do it if I could. I thought I had it queued up for you.
The thing is, in court, they're gonna deny everything.
Oh, is it right at the beginning then?
No, this is good though. Listen to this. This is good.
Okay.
Because it really shows the gaslighting. Yes, they will believe you. They will believe you. Why would I have thought? Baby, I promise they'll believe your word. I don't know why. Why I didn't think they wouldn't believe her. I don't know if you're far enough from school to get a bus anyway.
Anyway, I don't know about queued up, but I can do it.
I thought I told her right.
It just is it. That's the beginning.
She's just talking about how he won't give her money because she was doing working in actually it's kind of funny that my daughter keeps coming up in these places. She worked for the Agape, a counselor. She was a counselor at the Agape in Montana with her dad. So I don't know. She keeps ending up in these places that have child trafficking and all this craziness going on. When she's in her dad's care because she ended up in the Trinity Teen Solution and they have the lawsuit. But so and then the Agape. Someone told me that all the Agapes are connected. So the Agape in Missouri is connected to the Agape in Montana. And my daughter was spending summers there. But so she was getting this paycheck and she wanted her money and he wouldn't give her money. He's to this day he's taken her money from her. And that's what they were saying that these parents do. Part of that gaslighting and control that they do is take their money, their funds, and not let them have their own money. This is money she earned. And she's crying to me and telling me to tell him to let her have her money. Because she wants to have some kind of independence, some kind of control. I mean, she's like 14 at this time. And he's just strangling her.
Was she working it or something? Or what money?
Yeah, she was working for the Agape. She was a counselor at the Agape in Montana.
Oh, gotcha.
And from what I understand, they're connected to the one here in Missouri. And we know the stuff that's going on there. That's all crazy.
Right. So do you want to tell, do you want to go over this narcissist thing and then also just tell people exactly, what's going on with you and how that, try and give just a really, if you were just sitting there telling somebody for the first time what you're up against,
Oh, it's.
And then I want to stop sharing this because that way I can get us bigger on screen when you.
Oh, okay. So it's just a positive reinforcement to confuse you. They do a lot of that shit. They project on you. They they know that the confusion, it makes you weakened, that it makes you an easier target and stuff.
Right.
They rally people against you. Like James is trying to get all these people. Well, he got my daughter against me. I don't think it could go any worse than that, right?
No, your own
They tell
family.
others you're crazy. That's why they do the psychologists and do all that, because they want, to look crazy. And they tell you everyone is a liar and not them, that what they're saying is truth, right? So how much lying have they done in these court cases? Not only mine, but all of them. There's so much lying. And you're the one that's, out of your mind because you can't understand it or accept it, or that you even, like you said, fight. Like that's terrible.
So when you go and fight in the court systems in the United States of America, they start scrutinizing. You get punished for it.
Yeah, they took my daughter from me. They didn't take her until she disclosed abuse, and as soon as she did that, that's when they took my custody from me.
And the abuse was on the father's side. On top of that,
right, and that was in February. When she come home, when all that happened. And
that was February of
2021. Yeah, it's almost been a year since I've seen her.
Okay, it's almost been a year, and so through the process, you were fighting it legally. Of course, we know that we can't afford big lawyers like these rich people can.
There's no point. They're working together.
And anyway, there's no point in it because we found out they're mostly working together. And
they all are. They all know the game. All of them.
Then what happened? Then now you go. Then you're in. Then they accuse you. When did that thing come in the mail that accused you? And what is this crime that they're trying to accuse you of there in Missouri area?
Tampering with the judge charge, or yeah, that's ridiculous.
Tampering with what?
Huh?
Tampering with what?
A judge. Tampering with the judge from an email.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not saying I threatened her. They're saying that I was threatening her to change her court order in a way, that it was undermining or something. It's stupid.
Okay. Yeah.
They're trying to say because.
Anyway, they're painting a picture again of Angela to be the villain, to be an evil person, to be out to conspire, which means one or more persons getting together to on purpose to commit something evil.
Yeah.
And that's what they're accusing this mother of. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's the links they go to try to just take everything and just.
And I've seen the details and heard the details. I won't make you repeat them.
It's
on the email, but it's
this is
nothing.
not a unique story,
nothing.
Joe.
I know it's nothing. It's like the email was nothing. They're making such a big deal out of it on purpose, right? So that goes back. To.
This isn't unique. This is happening to so many families, so many people. I'm like, my story's common.
Mm-hmm.
It's common. It's just people are scared to talk. It's common. It happens to people all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
So they rally people against you. Can you explain maybe that in terms of your situation and
remember our first podcast? That was some good gaslighting going on in that podcast. Don't you remember it?
Oh God, how can I forget that?
Kind of crap, man. Do you remember that?
How can I forget that? I was half.
And I had to just sit there. I just sat there. I didn't say anything. I let them do their thing. They're not worth my energy. Like to argue and do that, it's just not worth it.
I think that would kick off.
Say what you will.
Yeah, that kicked off your podcasting
it's
career.
To try to make people, or they're trying to make people think all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, rally people against you. They tell you and others you are crazy. Then this is a CIA thing. This is this is the way they work. Project Mockingbird. This is the way that, well, when you think of a narcissist, now we're putting it in human form, but when you can compare it to government too and call it gaslighting. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today. And so, yeah. So they tell you that you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever they want to say. They tell you everyone else is a liar.
Yeah,
and then they tell you lies like go to drug treatment, go to alcohol treatment, and everything will be better. We'll get out of your lives.
Go get fixed.
Go get fixed, and we'll get out of your lives forever. Just do this and pay this fine for, $2,000 and go to this class for $300 over here and this class for $300 over here. And don't worry, your life will be just great. And so they lie to you, going back to the top. Tell you blatant lies. Those are blatant lies, because they never get out of your life. The government never gets out of your life. Once it's too big, it's too big. And we're pretty much done.
They're coming for our kids.
So they're coming for the kids now. They're jabbing those kids, and they're coming for them in different types of ways sexually. And so anyway, we're blowing whistles, trying to give people, information. So any final words that you'd like to tell anybody that might have been listening to this for the first time? And anything else you wanted to go over?
Start fighting, get louder. Okay. People just need to come together and get louder and stop being scared. Mm-hmm. We just have to stop it. It's not just even a family court, just all of it. This has got to change. When's it break? When's the pressure hit so much that it just gives?
Right.
You can only do it for so long, right?
Yeah. Have you, checked out any mainstream news lately? The only thing I keep every time I turn it on, it's about Omicron, vaccines.
People need to know that the family court system is trafficking children. People need to know that, really know it. Mm-hmm. It's what it is. Just don't want to
when you say that, though, how do you explain that to people nowadays?
Well, because they're taking them. Delilah didn't have a choice. That was against her will.
Right. They show up at people's house and they take them. So grandma can just call.
CPS comes in and just takes them. With whatever allegations they want, they can make up all these different lies. Yeah. Because they want to take our kids. They have money on their heads, Joe. Mm-hmm. And it takes a community to raise them, and it takes a whole community to protect them. So people have to start protecting the kids. You have to. They don't deserve it, They just don't deserve what's happening to them.
No, and what is happening to them is instability, confusion. If we went through that list, confusion, but it's happening to even every kid now. I mean, even if they have a good family, there's more stress than what there was. Having to do with the pandemic and the plandemic, I know we call it, but. And having to do with the confusion at schools and the whole mask thing and putting on this mask and every day. How many times do you think a teacher tells the kid to put on a mask? How many of you people have kids in school out there? If Facebook's not letting anybody watch it right now, but that's all right. We'll get it out. We'll get it out afterwards. But
if my daughter was home, I would already have pulled her out of school.
Right. It's like, my goodness.
I would be homeschooling her. I wouldn't even have her in school at this point.
Right.
It's a system, and they're part of it. The school system is. Yeah,
for sure. And so, from a standpoint of, right now, what do you look for, out there? What are you afraid of with your situation coming up? You should finish with this.
7 years. Spending 7 years in jail. That's an easy answer. I know that one. 7 years.
So that scares the hell out of you. And here you are, just a mom trying to have a relationship with your kids.
I'm just a mom. I'm a soul. I'm a spirit. I could to be trapped for 7 years somewhere for no reason. Mm-hmm. Absolutely no reason at all. So it's just because they want to take my rights from me because I didn't jump when they said.
Yeah. So Angela, tell people what is going on with your case real quick. Give an overview. Ask them for their help and if there's something they can do, because I'll take this clip that I'm doing right now and we'll shorten it up and I'll make a clip of it. So go ahead and tell people what's going on your case. Give some dates if you'd like. And really give people a good update as to what has happened in your life.
So a year ago when they took my daughter, things got really crazy. The GAL Zoom call was leaked, and it was these GALs colluding together about a woman with a suit against them claiming, a lot of the kids for cash fraud with the doctors and like a big RICO thing. And so when this audio leaked, it was the day after the court date on February 10th of 2021, when I was forced into the courtroom under duress to take Delilah there to return her to her dad because she was like just refusing to go. We had spoke with the judge 2 different times. She told her 2 different times prior to going there. So we show up, bunch of cops. I go to jail. They arrest me. On the court's own motion, they brought a criminal contempt charge against me. The court moved for that. It wasn't even her dad. The judge just stopped waiting for.
So that would be the local prosecutor and the judge, or the prosecutor getting together saying we're going to do something.
No, this is family court. What prosecutor? This is family court.
So there's no prosecutor. There's no prosecutors involved. This is family court.
At this point, no. This is just.
Oh, so this is the thing. Yeah, the whole family court system is almost separate, huh?
Yeah, they don't have prosecutors. You don't get a lawyer assigned to you. They don't follow the rules. There's no due process.
Okay.
So it never makes sense to anybody.
Interesting.
That's how they gaslight you. They give you no due process, and they just make up and do whatever.
Wow.
And then you're just thinking you're crazy.
Right.
They want you to think that anyway.
Okay.
So she, on her own motion, the judge moved the court to charge me with criminal contempt. The court usually doesn't move on its own motions, like I would move the court or he would move the court to do something. And they're just there to, dictate and whatever. They don't usually do this. So she had something against me. I mean, it was plain. It was obvious. And so she moves. I go. She doesn't trick me, but she tells me that if I bring Delilah in, she'll drop the charge. Well, she didn't drop the charge. She arrested me in front of my daughter. And then because my daughter still refused after I was arrested, she put her in the mental ward. They locked her up in the mental ward and started drugging her. I'm in jail. I get out, begging them to tell me where she was. Like, give me an update. Let me talk to her. They weren't going to let me talk to her or anything. But they were charging my insurance. What do you think about that one?
It's corrupt. It's corrupt. Keep going. Keep going with your story real quick, for sure.
I was the one paying the bill, and finally they give me phone calls. But then 23 days later, they have an informal hearing, and they don't inform me of this. And Delilah has no representation. So she was not even no one there to represent her, but her dad, and that he wasn't making good choices. They take her after 23 days and give her to a third party, this uncle she barely knows, and ships her out to Arizona. And then March 31st, she calls me and tells me they're moving her, and the phone gets disconnected. He hangs up on me, and she hasn't called home since. To this day, she hasn't called home.
And the last time you saw her was in court this summer.
Yeah, when I got arrested, when I got cuffed and walked out of there in front of her. Like, how traumatizing can that be? I'm the only one that's ever kept her safe, and here I am getting carted away and not able to keep her safe.
And,
now what does she think?
And it was all because you wrote an email to a judge.
Not yet. An email hadn't come yet.
Okay, what was that? What were they arresting you for then?
Because contempt of court, because Delilah wouldn't go back with her dad.
Okay, I got you.
This is, you know what I'm saying? We were not free to live our lives. I couldn't make decisions. We couldn't make choices. We were not living.
Yeah.
They were living our lives, telling us what we could do. We became at the judge's mercy. If she would allow us to do that, I wanted to take her to Singapore. They wouldn't let me. Why should I stop an opportunity like that because of the court? And
what are you feeling today, January 5th, 2022? The last time you talked to your daughter that we heard from your daughter was in court after she went to counseling, and they convinced her that you need help, that you need medicine, that you need counseling, that you need this and you need that. How do you feel?
More gaslighting, more isolation. I'm heartbroken for her that she's had to go through this. Never did I think letting her stand up for herself in that courtroom would have gotten her in this position where she can't even call me or won't, or I don't know what's going on, I just don't see her pulling, a 180 on me like that. That's my daughter. Why would she turn against me? Why would she not want to talk to me or even call home to say hi or Merry Christmas or get a Christmas present?
Right.
You know, like she didn't even call home with a Christmas list.
Oh, you mean, you get,
You know what I mean? But she didn't
be
call home
excited
with
about Christmas.
What
Yeah.
kid doesn't call home for Christmas and say, hey, Mom, I want some new Doc Martens or whatever, you know? Like she didn't even do that. So who's making her afraid to call me? What are they doing? What are they telling her? Where is she? Just because they told me she's in Montana. Is she in Montana? I don't fucking know. I have no way to, I don't have any solid proof of that other than they tell me, the courts told me, but they wouldn't tell me where she was for 10 months. They refused to tell me where she was.
What's your latest thought or memory of a certain name? You could name names if you want, but anybody within the experience of the judicial system, you know, that stands out that really irked you, and you're very, you know, are you upset at any particular?
They all irked me. Kathleen Shaw with her fraud upon the court and trying to rile me up in court in front of the judge one time. And just, you know, she really bothers me because she knows what she's doing and James can't do it without her. So she takes advantage of both sides of that coin, you know, because she's winning either way. She's going to win. She's going to make money. It doesn't matter which way she goes. They're either throwing you in the pit or pulling you out of the pit. They don't care as long as they're doing it. You know, and it's being done to you. It's, she was pinning my daughter and her dad just against them. Like Delilah really started to hate her dad at one point, and now look where she's at because this woman kept filing court documents against me, you know, pro se, and wouldn't treat me fairly, wouldn't follow the rules. You know, their rules, not even my rules. They were theirs, and they wouldn't even follow them. Committing fraud.
Yeah. And what would be your
and barratry, man? They can create chaos to keep the money flow.
Mm-hmm. What's your goal in terms of you know, changing the system? How do you think? Is there something that you think you can do?
I want to take the system down. I want to end it. The system doesn't need to be. There's better ways than this. This is designed against us to take our kids, to destroy families. This is not healthy for anybody. There's healthier ways. Like we were talking the other night, the justice circles, they already do them in the criminal side of the law. It would be perfect for the family court. Why don't they do it in family court? Because it wouldn't generate the money they're generating now, because it would work. Families wouldn't be separated and torn apart. They would be like healed and moving on with their different lives as much as you can do, because a lot of people have a lot of healing, so it's going to take time. I mean, they're really messing people up. What are these kids going to be like? How are they going to parent?
Mm-hmm.
How is my daughter going to be a mom, or what kind of mom will she be if she's watching this narcissistic woman that basically kidnapped her? This is the second time now. They kidnapped her before.
So the movie Gaslight is, you know, here's a good scenario. We're going to end with that. Is a young woman moves back into the house with her new husband. However, he has a secret, and you know, what does the government have? Secrets, right?
Lots of them.
Secret agents, intelligence, secrets. And then it says here, however, the husband has a secret that he'll do anything to protect. You know, doesn't that sound just like the government? And even if it means to drive his wife insane.
Well, you know, they have to tell us what they're doing, and they do it by these movies. This is a great movie for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just so you know what you're doing, so, you know, it's okay that they do it.
Yeah. So you have a court date coming up, a hearing on this stupid threat that they're saying you made.
Well, I have family court still again. We're still in trial at the end of January. And then in April, I have trial for the criminal charge.
Tell people what your passion is, why you're doing what you plan to do next year or so to help this cause. Do you see any hope? And you know, what would you like people to do for you to help?
Well, I didn't see myself being here doing this, that's for sure. So, my dream was to buy a hot springs and go make a resort. That's where my head was. And then family court has me in a totally different direction now. Now I'm just about the kids. Like, if I can't save my kid, we have to save the other ones. Like, this cannot continue. So my fight is just to end this stuff. We have a really good chance here in St. Louis with the leaked GAL call, with the coverage on my story, with what we know. We can prove it if we could just get the families to actually come together as a whole, and it's hard because people focus so much on their one case. So, but if they can pull themselves out and come and work on just the case that we have here in St. Louis to take the system out, to have people answer for what they've done, we have a really good chance to do that if people would start actually coming forward and pulling together and really start fighting the court about what they're doing, because it's blatant and they're destroying these little girls. Most of the stories I know are little girls and they're with their rapist. Like, what sense does that make?
And makes no sense. And
it makes none.
So continued activism and getting the word out. So if, would you encourage, other people to come on, like our programs, for instance? What would you tell them, what are the benefits of coming on? And for yourself, what's been the benefits for coming on?
Heal.
Media.
You tell your story.
Yeah.
You tell your story. You get to meet people that have similar stories that can relate. And so you trauma bond, but it's healing, you get to actually not lose your mind. It keeps from the gaslighting working, because you're not alone. Because a lot of people think they're alone and they're afraid to talk, but you have to. If it's happened to you, you got to step forward. We have to stop it. There's just no way it can continue on. Mm-hmm. The damage to humanity would be too terrible.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Angela, thank you. It's been a good show, I think. And I hope you have a good afternoon, everyone. And Angela, we'll see you next time. And make sure y'all go to infowinnews.com and check it all out. And keep in touch with us. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end your meeting, and then I'm just going to close out the show.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It was written 2 days before she was murdered.
Where did you find that?
In this score, she must have left it here. It's written by somebody called Sergius Bauer.
Give it to me.
He said I wasn't any liquor. He said I was going out of my mind.
Not going out of your mind. You're slowly and systematically being driven out of your mind.
But why? Why? Oh, that's wonderful.
And you thought I was being cruel, do you? Keeping people away
not
from
cruel.
you, making you a prisoner.
Oh, you're the kindest man in the world. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If I were not mad, I could have helped you. Whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. Because I am mad, I hate you. Because I'm mad, I betrayed you. And because I am mad, I'm rejoicing in my heart without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret. Watching you go with glory in my heart.